It didn't feel like it was a firm, Frank is our guy. We are going to figure this out. We're going to put our heads down. We're going to have conversations all off season. We're going to put together a game plan that works for him and this group of guys and hopefully win a championship next year. There was no confidence that Frank is for sure going to be the guy, but it's not a guarantee that he's not. Will they? Won't they? Frank Vogel and his future with the Phoenix Suns. Here is what Mat Ishbia had to say about it.
I'm not going to get into each coach. Here's how I think about it. Coach, GM, players. I'm not going to specifically get into each of them right now. Here's how I'll say it is. I just flew back from Michigan. I went to Michigan. I was hoping to come back for Game 6, just like all of you guys were hoping, which would have been tomorrow night. But I'm not. I'm here to talk to you guys, and I have no problem going through it. I have not had one discussion. I know there's media reports and stuff. It's just not true. Not one discussion about my GM, my coach. We're trading players now, supposedly, in the media. Not one discussion's even been had, let alone a decision being made. So there's been nothing at this point on any of those things, on any of those people, and I'm not going to get into each personnel and each question, each player, because it's or coach or GM, but honestly, not even a discussion. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to have those conversations. I'm meeting with players. I'm meeting with the coach. I'm meeting with the GM. I'm meeting with the CEO. I'm meeting with all those people this week. That's what I'm here for.
Durant, Rankin, Arizona Republic. Coach, Matt, we asked Coach about building off of year one for year two, and he said he had your full support. So to follow that up, will he be back coaching next year when you put that into consideration?
Yeah, same answer. Once again, not one discussion about my GM, my coach, players. Are we re-signing? Are we trying to get what free agents? Just haven't had the conversation, honestly. I think Frank Vogel did a lot of great things. I think James Jones does a lot of great things. I think Josh Bartlestein does. I think our players do. I think I've done some great things, but we're going to evaluate everything because here's what I think about. From a coach perspective, assistant coaches, I know we lost our assistant coach who's going to get a job at BYU, knew great things there. The way I look at it is everyone is accountable. I'm accountable to you guys. The players are accountable to the coach is accountable to the GM is accountable to the CEO or to me, or however you want to think about it. And so we're going to evaluate everything, look at every single person. We got to look at the medical staff. Are we doing a good enough job there? We got to look at the player development. Are we doing enough? Everything is on the table to evaluate. We have just not started it. So when people are saying Matt's making a decision, he's going to do this, or James is going to do this, or what, it's just not true, and it hasn't even been discussed, really.
Okay, first question, because this is the question that everyone's asking on social and in the chat. Are you buying or selling that he has had no conversations about anything as far as coaching, front office, things of that nature?
I'm buying they haven't had any formal discussions, any true meetings about it. I will not. I mean, they've been talking about that all year, though. I guarantee that Frank Vogel, how he's doing, what his future is, has all been discussed throughout the year between James, Josh Bartlestein, Mat Ishbia. What I read into this, and we'll get into James's comments shortly, is there was no vote of confidence for Frank Vogel there. There was no, he is our head coach. He will stay our head coach. It was simply, we haven't begun the evaluation process yet. To me, I still think they fire Frank Vogel. That's what I took away from that. I think that's one of those saying something without saying it. We haven't made any decisions, but he was asked about Frank saying something about having the vote of confidence from Mat Ishbia, and there wasn't any Frank's our coach and I believe in him kind of statement. So I think that's we haven't had those formal discussions. We're going to, and it may lead exactly where you think it's going.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could buy in that they haven't had a quote-unquote formal discussion about it, but I do not buy the fact that they have not discussed it, at least to a certain extent. Yeah. And like we've been saying since Monday, that it is a possibility that they're holding off making any changes because they want to have more in-depth conversations, both with the players, with the front office staff, and also see what's going to happen in the playoffs and who might become available if they do decide to move on from Frank Vogel. But I also agree with you in the sense that it didn't feel like it was a firm, Frank is our guy. We are going to figure this out. We're going to put our heads down. We're going to have conversations all off season. We're going to put together a game plan that works for him and this group of guys, and hopefully win a championship next year. There was no confidence that Frank is for sure going to be the guy, but it's not a guarantee that he's not.
And I kind of wonder if, they learned from last year and how quick they got rid of Monty, the move that they made, that maybe they want to take a little bit more time, have a little bit more of a process. There are these things called back channels in sports and life, where some people could be reaching out to people close to other coaches to gauge interest, to understand what the landscape is, to your point, and maybe they're not comfortable with it. So Frank winds up, staying another year because they're not comfortable, and they think bringing in an offensive mind that isn't Kevin Young, that maybe Frank helps pick, can change things a little bit along with continuity.